welcome to another awesome interview with a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine, Serena. Thank you so much for joining us today, Serena. How are you?
Oh, Chantelle, it's so exciting to be here today. As you already know, we love to chat, and
We
this is a
do.
great opportunity to share that with everyone.
It is. It is. We do have a little problem with stopping chatting. It happens. It
Mm.
happens, and that I think that's going to be an awesome thing for us hanging out today. Now, I know a little bit about your story, Serena, but I know I don't know everything. Could you tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you started your journey into where you're working right now and what you're doing right now?
Oh, goodness, Chantelle.
Loaded
It's
question.
quite loaded, and it's actually a, a really interesting thing for me is that there's that quote where of Stephen Jobs, you can't always see what's connected looking forward, but you can always see it looking back. And
I love that.
yeah, Steve Jobs, what can you say? He's definitely a visionary, and he realized it was having some certain faith in you're never going to actually be making mistakes. You're going to move forward, and everything you do will connect to where your vision is going. And I have lived my life that way. So to be
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing now, in a nutshell, I am a digital marketer with my head. My heart is financial literacy. And that's come out of me seeing opportunities and how things connect in the world
Yeah.
and making the most of it. And also then realizing that you need to understand how to work with money and finances to effectively get what you want without wasting money. And
That's a big thing, like getting what
yeah,
you want without waste.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that has often meant that I've done a lot of wasting or learning, as you would say, to actually
Yes.
figure out where I'm going. And it's
Yeah.
acknowledging that that learning is actually so valuable that it wasn't a
Yeah.
waste at all. And I've started from, I think I touched on this when I had a quick chat with you yesterday. Well, it was supposed to be quick. When I was at
It
school,
was not quick.
so true, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I started off my journey of figuring out who I am by saying I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And then I saw an incredible movie with Michael J. Fox
Mhm.
in one of his lesser known movies, but one that was important to me.
Yeah.
And it's called The Concierge.
I love that movie.
And I love that you know that movie, right? Because I don't have to over explain to you, but for
No,
those
that's right. But for those that don't know
watching,
the movie,
he is a concierge in a five-star hotel. And a concierge in those fancy pants hotels looks after the people who are visiting, uh, the guests, regardless of who you are, your background, your income, wants to deliver an experience that you don't even know you want or need. And it's beyond your expectations. So you have a memorable experience.
yep,
And I remember watching this movie and the way he played out his role. By serving others, he got what he wanted and he didn't even realize he could get that by doing that.
yep,
I loved that synergy. I watched that movie when I was like 18 and I was like, wow, how do I become a concierge?
yep.
And I've lived my life on that path. Well, it was my first year of uni and I started working in five-star hotels to become a
Mhm.
concierge. I did it for about 5 years. And what that taught me was a skill set that I use now as a digital marketer. Without giving you my every single stepping stone that's gone from there to where I am now, where I've constantly been able to look for and strive to is to help people to see the path that they can go on is one that's not as hard as they think it can be. When you've
Yeah.
got the opportunity to look for literally opportunities every day, it can be that moment of meeting just that right person. It can be just that opportunity of learning how to use something that you didn't already have the skills for, and that gives you what you want.
Mhm.
We I encounter people every day as a digital marketer and educator in my I call it my day job,
Yeah. 'Cause you
training
do wear
people how to
many
use it.
hats.
I do. I wear a few. They all connect.
Yeah.
When I train them, I get this incredible gratification out of seeing that light bulb go on for them, and they realize it's not as hard as they think to get what they want. And
Yeah.
through that knowledge and experience, I've made their life easier and more joyful. And I
I
feel like
like
I'm now
that.
sounding so woo woo.
That's okay. Woo is allowed. Woo is
Oh,
allowed because we're people and we are more than the sum of our parts.
and I love you say that. It is also recognizing, I don't know if you see the same thing, right? Where people get really caught up in a view of success, of having to go bigger and get more and go further. And they're always feeling like they've got to be doing more
Mhm.
instead of having that clarity of what they want may not be as big as they think or as hard to get as they think.
Yes. I I encourage people to sit down and write down what success actually is for them. And it's usually not money. It's usually not a dollar figure. It's usually something. It's quality time with their families, being able to take their family on a nice holiday, which takes money, but that's not their ultimate goal. It's being able to focus on something, do something that they absolutely love more often. And sometimes they need money to make these things happen, but sometimes they don't need as much as they think that they need. It's like the whole YouTuber live streaming thing. Everyone thinks you need the fancy camera, the big mics, all, and you don't. You can do it with your phone and a headphone jack.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the goal? Is your goal to have the fancy set? Then yeah, you do need some of that stuff. But if your goal is to get your message across and you've got an amazing message, you don't need all that stuff. And that's the same. Everyone needs to just sit down and think about what success means for them. And we have this discussion a fair bit, like about
Mm.
the differences of what success actually is. And it's one of those topics, like if you're watching here in the live stream and you're willing to share, put in the chat what success means for you. If you can, have a good think about it. And it's fine if it's, $1 million a year in sales or something like that. But if try and think that next level, try and think what would that $1 million in sales mean for you. But Serena, sorry, I'm terrible. I just
Mm.
jump in.
No,
Um,
not at all. I love that you're saying it so well. For me, before anyone will work with me, and this is one of the most powerful things I've done in creating the business I have, and I think all businesses, where you ask the question of me, tell a bit more about yourself and what it is that's behind you and where you've come from. And I've gone off in this very abstract view of my life because that's where I'm at now.
mhm,
That's come from an evolution of having to start with being able to have a really strong place where I can say to anyone that wants to work with me that you're not actually all going to be my ideal client, and it's okay to say no. And
that's
the
such an
way
important lesson.
well, that's right, right? And I get a lot of joy out of this simple process, which I'd encourage anyone in business to do. And really, it can cross over into your personal life. And if you really want to go to that next level, really,
Yeah.
a set of questions. And those questions that I get everyone to complete before they become a client of mine, they help me and I need to understand there's no right or wrong answers, but it's exactly what you've just said there with a little bit more structure around it for me so I can filter out how I can best help someone because I love to help people. I've got no issue or problem with wanting to help, but I
Mhm.
know that without having any clear boundaries around that, I ended up prioritizing other people above myself. And when I can get someone to define what success looks like for them in that set of questions, I can then see that if they're defining it, if they've got clarity on it, how I can then help them.
Yeah.
And it's the equivalent of if you can't see exactly what it is you want, how can
Mhm.
anyone else help you get it? That's
Yeah.
why there are, there are plans to build a house if you want a house. You get to know how many bedrooms a house is going to have, how many bathrooms, and how much with that vision there can be a
Yeah.
budget tied to it, and you can get the right contractors in to help.
Mhm.
We get caught up in that, in something that's more physical and seen,
Yeah.
yet why don't we apply that same methodology to our own lives and
Yes.
our business? Because our business, I haven't met a person yet that said, I've started a business so I can use my entire life quality in my years to build that so that there's a business and I don't have a life. I'm just going to pour my life into that business and that's it.
Yeah.
So, to your point, if someone's wanting $1 million for their business, it's because there's a lifestyle they want.
Yes, exactly
It's
right.
never going to be separate.
It's not
And
it's not actually the dollar figure that they want, it's
it's
something
never
that
the
that
dollar
dollar
figure.
figure can get them.
It,
Stacey Kappas, I'm sorry if I've said your name wrong, or Koppas, her goal is experiencing love, freedom, and abundance.
oh, Stacey, it's Stacey Copus,
Koppas, thank
um,
you.
Queen of Resilience and dear friend. And I love that you're here today, Stacey. I hold my heart when I talk about it because, um, yeah, people in your life come to you for a reason.
Mhm.
And what Stacey is experiencing love, freedom, and abundance, that when you can have the clarity of that, where I come and help is help you tie numbers to that so you can see what that looks like.
Yeah.
If you want those things, you then need to figure out how much money, when I say that word, it's a positive, you
It is
want
a
so that you can
positive.
enable those things. And the beauty of it is those things can cost absolutely nothing in this case. And that's what actually I'd say Stacey teaches.
Yeah.
When we talk about giving a shout out, I'm actually going to give I'm going to give a shout out to her. Above my camera here, I have a wall of things that keep me focused.
Mhm.
And I'm going to read something out and it'll make sense in a sec.
Alright.
Thank you for the opportunity to be who I am, where I am, and with what I have at this moment in time. I am grateful for the experiences I have had, the lessons I've learned, and the people I have met. I love who I am, and I'm excited about the infinite power I have to create the future I desire and deserve. I'm proud of what I do and the impact it has in our world that only I can have. And that's a quote from Stacey Copus.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Stacey is one of those people, well, and I'm you probably get this, Chantelle, because I'm also surrounded by you. It's
That's
I mean
okay.
that. You get how the value is in life when you can focus on the positive in your life. And when you focus on a positive approach first and a quality of people and presence first,
Mhm.
everything else becomes easier. It is an incredible thing when you can go, oh, how awesome is my life today? How awesome is it that I see the opportunities around me? And when you focus on those things, you attract other people focused on those things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then more opportunities open for you. And that means you're open to seeing the good in things. And when you can see that, that aligns with your values. And
Yeah.
if you then align on the same values, the cool thing with regards to business is that those people aligned with values the same as yours want to see you succeed.
Yes.
They then will help you to succeed, and they will go out of their way to help you and you help them. And as a business owner, let's just, I'll stop the woo woo for a sec. It, isn't it incredible then when you can spend every day you have working with people who align on the same values and you gain them as ideal clients or
It
customers?
it's
It's
one of those highlights when and it brings around what you said before, not everybody is your ideal client and not everybody should work with you because you want people like what you've just described. You want the aligning beliefs, the ability to not look at their name in a list of in a call sheet and go, "Oh, okay. I've got to deal with such and such today." You don't want that because that actually sets the tone for the call. That sets and even if you can make it appear that that's not the case, like if you're an excellent actress, which I am not, my face speaks loudly and my voice can be saying one thing and my face can be saying the totally opposite. So I find that working with people that I align with makes it so that I don't have to, I don't have to try and balance that out. Andrew Cairns in the chat, and he says, "My face is too loud, lol." Thanks, Andrew.
I
But,
love that.
I did wanna jump back. We've got
Yeah.
Russell, who is also here in our chat, and he's
Oh,
been hanging
Russell.
out, so, um,
I've got the
for
heart too.
some time this morning, and his success is the rewards that come from helping people realize their dreams. Russell is in this amazing industry of helping people to find their dream homes, and it's one of those amazing things where you do get to see that, and, um, I just what do you think of this as a statement of success?
I see it as very gratifying. I I read a lot, and in my quest to be a better person and attain exactly what I'm talking about in actually
Yeah.
creating the life I want, I been reading a lot of books, and one in particular stands out for me is Your Money or Your Life by Vicky Robin.
Mhm.
And in that book, it's you've got to go through a process of figuring out what fills your cup and
Yes.
what is enough for you. And this is about redefining the relationship with earning money and also your having your life. And time is one of those things where it's not replenishable like money is. And as hard as it can be to see if you're in the depths of trying to figure out finances, the thing you should be looking at basically is how valuable your time is, and then how you're spending every day.
Yes.
Um, I Every day should be an opportunity for you to have a good day, and some days aren't going to be good, but if you can have more good days than bad, you've got a better opportunity of doing more with your life that you want. And there's a certain joy in helping others. And when you can connect to that bigger purpose, it makes the bad days easier. It makes everything easier. So I identify really strongly with it, Russell. And I, what I love, this is my connection I've had with Russell through the groups we're in together with him, Chantelle, is
Yeah.
I see you genuinely give to others and do it from a place of seeing them succeed. And I love that to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm excited when I see Russell is on the call because I see how you come from a place of giving and
Yeah.
learning, and that humbleness and joy is I want to be around. I want to be around people like that. It's as simple as that, Russell. So thank you for being
Yeah,
here today. It means a lot.
it is. It's Stacey's written here, avoid the PITA clients. We all know what that means. We're not going to say it out loud. Um, if you don't know what it means, Google it. And it brings it around again. It is, make sure you're surrounding yourself with people and clients that bring you joy, that bring you resilience and hope and excitement, because all of these are positive. You you don't want those clients. You're right, Stacey. You
And
definitely don't want those clients.
where I come from, because you'll see, you've mentioned before, I have a few different hats with what I do.
Yeah.
Uh, if I go into talking about how I do digital marketing and how that connects to me talking about values and how to align with your view of success,
Hmm.
you end up putting less energy, and energy is essentially money, into amplifying your business and who you want to be known, what you want to be known for, if you are putting yourself out there from a place of people getting to know your values and connecting on that value level. You end up
Yeah.
with a stronger base to build from that will become your community for you, who want
Yes.
to engage with your content because they align with who you are and what you represent. And I meet and work with people who have physical product businesses, and every single one of them come from an entrepreneurial heart of building
Hmm.
a business around exactly what Russell is saying, that
Yeah.
they want to help people have a better life. And there's a reason behind that every single time. It's their why. And if they can put themselves out there into the world with what their why is, allow that engagement piece,
Yeah.
they have a stronger base to build. And those people who then connect on that values level will amplify their brand for them, which
Yeah.
means from a monetary point of view, and I am very much about the numbers when you start to see me in my online presence myself,
Yeah.
you end up not putting as much energy and time and money into growing your business.
And what happens if you stop putting energy and money and time into your business, Serena?
You then have that choice to do what you want, where you want, and how you want. You literally create the life you want that achieves balance. And
Yeah,
that gratification is what lights me up every day.
that's awesome. I love that. Andrew cheekily said that Chantelle will die on the community hills. And Andrew and I have had
Is
many
he
a
a copywriter?
discussion. Uh, he should be. He should be.
It sounds
Um,
brilliant.
it is. It is. And it's because I 100% agree with you about building a community of like-minded people around you. It is so important. And just to swing this just a little
Mm,
into community building and creating
mm,
content, this is one of the reasons why I love live streaming and live video, because of the community that comes together, and we can chat like we're chatting to each other, but everybody who's watching, they, if they're logged into YouTube, they can also pop their comments and chats in as well, even if they're a little bit cheeky. I'm looking at you, Andrew. Um, because that two-way communication street is what builds the community. It's what solidifies the community. Putting out just videos all of the time is awesome for creating an audience,
mm.
but to build that community, there has to be two-way communication.
There is a reason why you and I have connected so strongly, and that is exactly it.
Yeah, I think so.
I if you those of you who are in the business mindset, if we switch you in that lane now, exactly what you're saying, Chantelle, is if you split the sales funnel into 3 pieces,
Mhm.
and I daily, almost daily, do audits of businesses to help them understand what they could be doing and the missed opportunities they've got.
Yeah.
What is the consistent theme of a business I go and review is that they're fantastic at the awareness piece. And I'm going to do it like this because your sales funnel
Mhm.
goes down like so. There's
Yeah.
awareness, engagement, conversion. and the awareness piece is great. So, hey, I'm here, and this is the behind the scenes of my business, and this is what I've created. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the hard slog. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm finally getting there. And then you've got the, here's my product, and they're throwing out the links and buy it, and it's available on my website, it's available on Amazon, it's available through Facebook Shop, it's Instagram
Yeah.
Shop, it's all these places. But they go from here to the bottom
Yeah.
instead of flowing through. And that
Yeah.
middle piece is the engagement piece.
Yes.
And they
And they're
miss
just
that
squirting out the side of
opportunity.
the holes in their funnel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They've got the flood going on. It's a mess. They've got to get the mop
They
out.
need
They get the
towels.
plumber. Yep, totally.
Absolutely. I do wanna just jump back just a little, just so we don't
Yeah,
so she doesn't feel like we've forgotten her, but All About Style is in the chat as well, and her success is to time to spend with family, close friends, to be in the position to help my family in a financial way if I'm needed.
and I love that.
I love that
What
too.
that that gets closer to the heart of why I believe anyone's in business, and I love that's the beautiful Antoinette from All About Style. Um, she's an incredible, stylist. I've actually got a video on my YouTube channel where she has helped me. This I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you an absolute shout out here. I got a $5,000 wardrobe, designer label wardrobe for $327 by
Wow,
her taking me op shopping.
that's
And
fantastic.
isn't it just this dress is a $300 dress, and I paid $18 for. It was actually one of the finds when I was shopping with her. So I'm like, I
Doing a dance. Doing a
it
dance.
it is a dance
Yeah.
because it wasn't about being second best. It was actually then enabling me to have money to do other things. And that's my personal life, but that same rationale is what I do every day in my business life. And it's a crossover of the two. And with Antoinette, uh, with her saying that her clarity, like I've known her for a number of years now, and it was actually through getting to know what she does as a stylist that
Mhm.
I have been able to see the value in my personal life of what she does.
Yeah.
The When you can articulate exactly clearly like she's just done about what she wants, you can
Mhm.
then translate that into how many clients do you need to have to enable it? Simple as that.
Yes. It's that
Then
backwards maths. Yeah.
reverse engineer
Yeah.
beautifully. And that clarity means that she's got the level of confidence to say no to people or to book days out or actually go, it's actually okay. And I can come from a very personal experience if I go back a few years now where I never wanted to say no to a client ever because that was an opportunity to earn income.
Yeah.
What that does is have you completely switched on all the time, always scratching to get more business. And a very personal moment for me, if I go back, oh my goodness, 2000 and I think it was 17.
Yeah.
My son said to me one day, he was 5 years, going on 5, 4.5, 5 years old. He goes, Mum, don't you like spending time with us? And I kind of looked at him, and he's that age, they don't have a filter. And
They really don't.
no, it got me to a point going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I created my business that I have now. I spent basically the better part of 20 years corporate. I started in hotels and then I went into um, working with financial advisors as an administrator and all these different pathways of jobs, basically just going from job to job to earn an income. I've got a really strong
Mhm.
work ethic. And I
Yeah.
went into advertising, geez, going on 15 years ago. So I finally
Yeah.
settled in. And when I got pregnant, I was working 60-hour work weeks and I was on call for a client.
Yeah.
Anyone who's had a significant shift in life where you've realised that that wasn't the only way to live, in my case it was becoming a parent,
Mhm.
would go, actually, when you do that, you've got to take stock. When I went back when he was 5 months old to negotiate returning to work, they said to me, "Well, this level of role, it's not really suitable for you. We really still need someone at that level of the 60-hour work weeks and on call for the client."
Yeah.
And that was, we're going back 10 years ago now. Within a 48-hour period, I had stepped out of the corporate life and I had a baby and I was unemployed. We couldn't afford to live in the city anymore where we lived at the time. And my husband, baby, and I moved to the suburbs to live with my parents again. So
Yeah.
I was unemployed with a baby, living in the burbs. And what happens when you kind of feeling like you're at your lowest point? You get
Yes.
pregnant with number two.
Oh, okay.
Whoopsie. I was like, okay, what do I
If I'm
do?
gonna be home with one, I may as well be home with two.
I know, right? What
Mhm.
am I doing?
Yeah.
And it took me a little while of just probably wallowing, bit of self-pity, bit of
Mhm.
misery. It wasn't until the second one was about 6 months old, around the 5, 6-month mark again. It's almost like that moment when they came up for air again.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, that's
I
about the point when you start getting to have sleep again.
Yes! You're exactly right. I was like, "That's right. Sleep." So I got my sleep again. I went, "Okay." I decided to start the business. I had the idea, and the thing is I came at it from a point of view of going, "I need income."
Yeah.
So I didn't have a clarity. So when I say to people, "What's your view of success?" I
Yeah.
can also say there's no right or wrong answer,
There
but
is no right or wrong answer. It's
I
just
can
getting
also
them
say
to clarify.
I had no idea what I wanted other than money.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon to hear people say money,
Mhm.
but I if I sat and thought about it a bit more, if I'm talking to my younger self, I've gone,
Yeah.
"Ooh, maybe some dream work, maybe some what is it that I really want work then." It
Yeah.
would have made the last decade of my life easier. Not easy, and I think there's a big differentiation between the 2, but
Yes.
definitely easier. And I want to help people have it easier. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say it's not hard work and it's not work, but it shouldn't be as hard as what people are making.
Mhm.
Like, you can push yourself thinking, "Oh, I've got" anyone I hear that says to me, "Oh, I've gotta do a social media post. Oh, I have to be on Instagram. I have to be on TikTok. I have to be on YouTube." No, you don't.
Yes.
And you actually don't need a big audience on that point either to actually get what you want. A smaller audience that's engaged can give you so much more than you realize, is my point as well.
Yes.
I have worked through all of those things myself, and that started off with being a consultant who was poorly paid because I didn't price myself accordingly. I
Mhm.
figured that out. And then I figured out also how best to package my skills to help people better. And that is getting people to understand things like you can do advertising organically without a paid spend if you find other creative ways to do things. You
Mhm.
can do it with a spend, with clarity of what you're doing.
Yes. Do
And
you have people who come at you for like, "Hey, I want ad spends, I want," you know, they
yeah,
don't
yep,
have an idea of who their customer is, so they just wanna just splash the money everywhere. How do
yep.
you deal with a client like that?
The questions, to be
Yep.
blunt, I start with what their questions of success are. And I also, they have to fill out the questions and book in a paid power hour with me.
Mhm.
And the reason I do it that way is that that paid session, which I do pre work for, they complete the questions. And with the answers to those questions, I then go and do an audit of their online presence.
Mhm.
Then we come together after I've done that and we have an hour recorded together, and I
Yeah.
take them through all my findings that I've supplied to them before that meeting. We have a productive meeting, and I help them see where their opportunities are.
Yeah.
Now, that process in itself, that they have to fill out the questions and they have to pay,
I've seen
pretty
those
well.
questions. They're a bit daunting. That you've got to be ready to do some work to answer those questions.
Yes. And I would say to anyone that's saying, well, why should I do that up front? I'm like, well, how important is it that you enable me to see your vision?
Yes.
Because if I
Yeah.
can't see your vision, I can't actually help you the best possible way. And commonly, what someone's asking for, just like we talk about with the view of success, there's an underlying issue. So the question they're asking is actually not the question that
Yeah.
needs the answer.
Okay. So
So,
you dig in and find what the actual question is,
well,
or the answer to the question they haven't asked.
yes,
Yeah.
because all of the above, them completing those questions, regardless of the answers, like
Yeah.
those, there's actually no right or wrong answers. But the way they answer the questions helps me to get an insight into their current existing knowledge piece of
Yeah.
where they're at. I can actually meet them where they're at and then take them on the journey to where they want to go.
Mhm.
And that's the process of the call. And then also the reason why they pay at that point in time is that we do the hour together, then they take the knowledge essentially I've given them, that piece of
Yeah.
experience in that review. They can then decide to work with me ongoing, or they can go to someone else with that knowledge piece and get
Yeah.
it implemented to someone else, or they can do it themselves. Because what I've built off the back of that is an option to help them, support them to learn DIY themselves or have a done with you approach in packages. So there's actually two different pathways. Well, actually,
Yeah.
the third pathway, they can go back to the agency that they're currently working with and hold that agency accountable. And I've had a number of people do it. I'd probably say it's around 20% of the people who do power hours with me. They come
Yeah.
and do the power hour, and then they actually go back to the agency they're currently working with, and they have a list of questions saying, why hasn't this been done? Or why have you done it this way? And is there a reason we
Because
couldn't
they're
try
coming with
this out?
information now. They've got more information than they had. Oh,
It,
it's kind of funny as well, at the same
it,
time as being kinda sad that
not really. No, because this is the thing, right? Is that I see it all the time, is
mm,
that people feel like they've got to um, get experts involved, but they don't have the knowledge piece to hold the experts accountable.
yeah,
I find that different ways for me, if I go back to my younger self when I first started out and I need to create a job for myself, I was coming from a place of how to basically get an income and not really value what I can give others, and come from a place of service, of actually helping someone else get what they want.
mhm,
My knowledge piece is that I came into digital marketing not the traditional pathway. I didn't go off to university immediately to study it. I studied tourism management. I wanted to be Michael J. Fox. I learned service, but I didn't learn tech.
yeah,
But my, if I go back into my little archive of my history, is
yeah,
that when I transitioned from working in hospitality into digital, it came at me quite accidentally. I was working as a sales and marketing coordinator for Thredbo, a
mhm.
snow resort here in Australia. And in that role, I was
It
given
does
a bunch.
snow in Australia, just as an FYI for other people. There are places here that it snows. Sorry,
Yes.
Serena.
No, it's true, right? I have to
Yeah,
explain that all the time to anyone I work with. It's
the whole
especially
country is
USA.
not subtropical. It's quite a large country.
Exactly. Look, the role
Sorry.
there, no, it's
Yep,
okay. They wanted me to train snow and outdoor employees nationally on the benefits of going to that particular resort, because it's not just one snow resort, to your point, Chantelle.
yep,
Last count, I think there's at least maybe 8, 9 decent sized
yeah,
ones without me
and then there's
rattling them all
small
off.
boutique ones.
Sorry?
Then there's all the small boutique ones as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Oh,
we
that's
get
a
lots
whole
of
other,
snow.
I could talk about that one for a few hours.
Yeah,
Um,
let's try and stay on track.
Oh, geez. Yes, I've definitely gone off a few different ways.
That's
Um,
right.
I was sitting in my office at the base of the main chairlift there, and they said, "Look, here's your budget to train snow and outdoor employees on the benefits of our resort." And I'm like, "Okay." And when I looked at that, I'm like, "Well, that would give me about enough to go into Sydney and go to a couple of stores, visit them." I was 6 hours from Sydney.
Yeah,
Um, I said, "What, instead of me just training a few stores in Sydney, maybe we could use this budget to train all snow and outdoor employees nationally with an online program." And we're
yeah,
going back early 2000s now. I'm showing my vintage.
yeah.
Um, and
Which
they were like,
it
"This is
really wasn't the normal thing back in the early 2000s to do
in the
video
early
training.
2000s, it was, I can remember, and I was in that job at the time, getting an email from my brother to join Facebook, and I deleted it because I thought it was spam. Yeah, this was before Facebook, if we can get our heads wrapped around
Yeah,
that.
if we can.
I
My
had
daughter asked me a question, it's like,
Yeah,
"What how did you get information before YouTube?" Because she's in the vintage where YouTube has always been part of her life.
crazy, right?
It's
You know, on
insane, but
a side note on that one, I told my kids this morning they're heading to school, that I was gonna be live streaming this morning, and
yeah,
they wanted to get they wanna know how many subs I'm gonna get out of it and how many likes
okay.
and comments, and I was like, "Okay." So they're actually pretty, chuffed that I'm on a live stream today. But
It's not gonna be your last though, is it, Serena?
no, it's not. It's totally not.
Oh,
They're It's actually beautiful to see what I do through their eyes,
yeah,
because they remind me that I'm doing what I do to enable flexibility of my life. And I think that point of even talking about my first experience of getting into tech was me sitting there as a non-tech person, just knowing I could see the opportunity. That
mhm,
came at me as just an idea, and instead of me going to Sydney to sit with uh, store employees and train them on the benefits of the resort, I went and sat with web developers to create an online training program instead.
yeah.
And that was where I just started getting really curious and just asking
Eh,
truckloads of questions.
that was your
And
gateway drug.
it was, because then I was like, "Oh, if I
Yeah,
can do this, can I do this?" And if I go 10 years later, before I stepped into my own business, um, I ended up in advertising as an account director, working with clients who were like me 10 years earlier, going, "Could we do it this way?" And the client would come to me and say, "I want to do this, I want to do this." And then I'd have to take it back to my team of developers and creatives and say, "They want to do this." And they're looking at me going, "No." And I'd go like, "But come on." I'm like, I was that annoying person 10 years earlier, but I got
Oh,
past asking all the
yeah,
questions, and then I realized I just can't stop asking questions, and that's how I've ended up
that's where
talking
I'm
with
at.
you.
Yeah. And that's why we can never stay on topic, and our calls always go longer than we plan because we do this. We've got some more comments in the chat, so I'm just gonna scoot over. Russell from Florida Living wants to know what my definition of success is, 'cause I probably didn't say what it was when we were doing that. Um, for
I
me,
love it, Russell.
yes,
Accountability.
put me on the
Chantelle, go for
spot.
it.
Russell's just like, "Under the bus." Um I'm one of these people that doesn't have a clear pathway because I've recently had a big um shake up of what I think success is. But where I'm heading now is my vision of success is being able to work from wherever I want to, but surrounded with my family and everybody is supported, if that makes sense. I want to be able to travel, but take them with me. I want to be able to take them on a holiday. We haven't had a holiday for quite a few years, so that's a big thing in my mind is we need a holiday. So being able to have regular holidays and regular breaks. But if I'm able to work from wherever, it means we could go on a family holiday for however long, and they can go off and do something while I do a little bit of work, and then we do stuff together. That's my idea of success. And I know it's a little bit vague.
No,
It's not
no,
100% clear yet, but that's kind of where I'm heading.
Chantelle, I am compelled to share something with you right now as well, is that last night I went and pulled out my journals from 2018.
Mhm.
And 2018 was a big year for me, in that just towards the end of 2017 was when my son said, "Hey, don't you like spending time with us?" And I realized I needed to realign what I was doing
Yeah.
and get out of that corporate burnout mindset I had of 60-hour work weeks.
And we're
And
pushed into those, like, you
oh,
don't start
so
off doing
you
60
don't
hours.
realize.
Yeah,
No,
it creeps up.
completely. And
Mm,
I got out the journals from 2018, and something incredibly powerful I did was I started journaling daily, every morning. Every morning I'd get up and I'd meditate. And yes, I'm going back into the woo again. If you're not in, do you meditate? I have to say, do you?
I don't, no, I do
Okay,
sit and think, if that makes
okay.
any se I do sit and think,
I
but I
love that
don't
you say
actually
that.
meditate as such.
Yeah. I love that you say that because, again, someone who's not, well, I keep catching myself saying I'm not the woo, but I think
It
this
turns out you
luxury
are.
of saying I kind of am. That's okay. Where I started with it is heavily resistant and not doing it. But what you've just said, really, I view meditation as stopping all the busy around you and dedicating that thinking time.
Mhm,
If you can, if you find that it's too much to talk about, again, the woo side and the meditation, carving out that space of 20 minutes, even 10,
yeah,
to stop the busy and just sit with your thoughts. Like, allow yourself that time to think about what if. Because while
mhm.
you said you were vague, you're actually pretty detailed on the things you want. And
I just don't
what
know how to get there, I think that's where the
ah,
vagueness is.
that's the cool thing, right? And that's why it got me. Right. And I'm saying this because I've actually got the journals in front of me because I pulled them out. They ended up becoming books because I've written. Um, I'll take you through the process of what I've done because it blew my mind
Mhm.
how much I've achieved by doing something not too dissimilar to what you just described to me. It it was as simple for me as sitting there. It's about 20 minutes each morning. I literally
Yeah.
just wake up and I'd have time to sit in my own thoughts, visualize what the life is that I want. Like it's pick the location. Like, where do you want to go on holiday? Like you're saying you want to go with
Oh,
the family. Where is it?
they wanna go skiing, so let's go
Ooh,
skiing. They used
oh,
to ski all the time, but I can't ski, I've got
whereabouts?
busted legs. Um,
Apres
for
skiing.
So for me, it's like somewhere that's pretty, like, because I'm gonna be stuck in the room,
Oh, well,
and
okay. Okay.
I'll be able to walk
Colorado?
around a little bit, but that's it. But I don't care if it's Australia, I don't care if it's New Zealand, I don't care if it's the US. I just want it to be somewhere where they enjoy the skiing.
You probably get an idea of, um, okay, I've spent a lot of time in snow resorts. That's something we
Yeah.
could easily talk about for a number of hours as well.
We'll
Because
just
yes, I've
add that
spent
to the list.
keep adding to the list, right? Because I don't think we're ever running out of things to talk about.
No, I don't think we are.
Beautiful village, like
Yeah,
picture perfect. Go and stay in Breckenridge in Colorado.
yeah,
Oh, one year I had a season pass and I lived over there for 6 weeks. My brother was working in, Copper Mountain,
yeah,
and again, like, instead of being stuck in the room, which is what, well, we're more limited here by the shortened snow season and the
yeah,
height of our mountains as to what you have got over there. But
mhm,
the established large village is just so picturesque. And where I come from, it's start watching some YouTube videos about Breckenridge and start to visualize, like do it as almost like a warm up to then picture yourself walking down those streets and getting incredible chai lattes and
oh,
coffee.
yes.
There are
But it's
there are
gotta have
places
good
to go.
coffee. It's gotta have good coffee. That's one
And
of the
there are
rules.
places to get good coffee in America. It does take a bit of time to find, and I
Yeah,
can talk about that a lot as well, because that's another one of my passions in life is life's too short for bad coffee.
I agree with you.
But the more you can allow yourself, like, carve out a piece of time, 10 or 20 minutes a day, doesn't have to be a lot,
Yeah,
where you can give yourself that opportunity to visualize what your ideal day looks like.
yeah,
It is so powerful. Like, I sat there, um, my so many things that popped off the page that I wrote down as a list. Like, you just gave me a list of things, right? Writing those on a list.
yeah,
Essentially, I do that 20 minutes of meditation, and then I just write out all the things, like, as a list
yeah,
of maybe 10 or 20 things that I wanna have in that future life.
yeah,
And if I can dedicate that time to doing that every day, and I never understood until I did it, it means you start moving all your actions and your energy towards getting those things.
yeah.
So then things just naturally become more aligned with what you want.
I'm
And
gonna throw this out
mm,
there because it keeps popping into my head because we've discussed this aligning a few times in our chat today. And I just keep thinking about horse riding, right? So those
oh,
of you in the chat that have ever been horse riding, if you're taking your horse on a track that it doesn't know, so it doesn't know its way home, if you face in a direction, the horse goes in the direction you face. You could be pulling the reins one way, but if you're twisting your body to face another way, the horse thinks you want to go that way and it will go that way. So you have to face the direction you want to go. And I just kept jumping into my brain about being like just sitting there and making sure you are facing the direction you want to go. Don't be over here looking at this other thing and not expect to end up veering that direction. It's like driving a car. Don't look at the pole you want to miss.
and it's like, just stop trying to look towards the people you don't wanna work with, for example. Like, well,
Yes.
look, like, you get so much gratification out of working with people who wanna work with you, and that's that rationale. But I started laughing immediately there as you were talking because it's
I
not
felt
just
the
the horse.
judgment. No. I know it
No,
wasn't judgment.
it's the, um see, for me to end up working where I did in the snow and outdoor,
Yeah.
well, basically living and working in a snow resort,
Yeah.
I was working I mentioned earlier on this, live stream that I had gone from working in hospitality into finance, and the reason that
Mhm.
happened was the person I was working for in a snow resort in
Yeah.
country Victoria, Mount Hotham down there,
Yeah.
he went bankrupt, and that was the year the Olympics were on, and I ended up back in Sydney looking for a job, and I just had this work ethic and, well, motivation to earn money, and I
Yeah.
just went and applied for a job I found in the newspaper, showing my age there, right?
Jobs in
And
the newspaper.
and
There
I
was a
ended up,
time, boys and girls, where that was the only way to find a job.
well, I got the job, right? But I was working in a finance company, and the cool benefits of working in a finance company were these perks to look after you and your well-being, and I
Mhm.
took advantage of this thing called the 48-52, and it meant I could sacrifice 4 weeks pay a year and double my annual leave. So I got 8 weeks annual leave, and then in that year, I went and became a snowboard instructor because I wanted to. I looked at the
Wow.
opportunity. Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to, and this is the thing, I wanted to go back to snow resorts, and I figured out that if I could double my annual leave, it meant I could take off school holidays and work full-time in school holidays, and then living in the burbs, it was about 4.5 hours drive to the snow, so I'd work
Yeah.
Monday to Friday in the city, and in weekends, Friday nights, I'd drive to the snow resort and work Saturday, Sunday in the snow resort. That meant I got to be on snow. And then Sunday nights, I'd drive home and work Monday to Friday in the city in
You're
finance.
not kidding when you said you just worked and worked and worked and worked.
the thing,
What does your
yes.
week look like now? What does your week look like now?
My week now is I have essentially during school hours and before the kids wake up, they're the 2 areas I do, audits of businesses.
Mhm.
I record a podcast weekly.
What's
I
your podcast called? Just FY just to throw that in
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
adding up with Serena.Ryan.
Okay. So there's a link for that in the
Yeah,
description, and it's an amazing podcast about winning your own finances, basically, winning at your own finances.
thank you. The way I explain it, and I love you being my cheerleader, is it's a very raw, my money mistakes and my money learnings.
Mm.
So if you'll get the hint of what I'm like by watching this live stream today, is that I go at a bullet a gate at a lot of things. I love learning, but with age comes wisdom of getting the balance of my life back. And
Yeah.
money won't give you happiness, but it's not making it the bad thing either. We attach a lot of
Yes. It's
emotions
not
to it.
evil. Yeah.
No, it
It's it's
enables
it's it's
so
it's actually
much.
not good or evil. It's neutral. It's just what you do with it.
Yes,
Okay, so you have before the kids wake up and while they're at school, and in that
yes,
time, sorry, I waylaid you with your podcast. So
that's okay.
you're recording your podcast fairly
Yep,
regularly. And what
yep,
else do you get done through because that's a really short amount of time. Here in Australia, school hours are usually what, 9 till 3?
yep.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Um, I make a point of I teach, I work with clients on packages. So exactly what I say about doing power hours.
Mhm.
I then go and work with some clients a bit more deeply, essentially to help them bring together all the resources they need to achieve their business goals online
Yeah.
and see where the opportunities lie in person as well. And this is the thing, my skill set comes from a place of well before starting a business, looking for where the opportunities were for me to have the life I want.
Mhm.
And when you can open your eyes to opportunities every day, it's such a joy to actually go and seize them. Like Stacey, I'm not sure if she's still on the live stream now, but the way I met Stacey was she is known as a resilience expert because she is the queen of resilience.
Mhm.
And I saw that she was speaking at a local event where I live, and I went to buy a ticket to the event. And when I went to buy a ticket, it was sold out. I was
Oh.
devastated. So what I did was I got onto Instagram and I just sent her a message and said, "Oh, I was really looking forward to seeing you speak at the event." And her response to me, hadn't met her before in person, was, "Oh, would you like to meet for a cup of tea?" And I was like, "Oh, that
The answer
is
is
one of
yes.
the things."
Because I'm the person to go, "But they're a stranger." "No, thanks, but thanks anyway." The answer is yes.
And well, Chantelle, you, I'm sure you're going to find this really hard to believe.
You said no, didn't you?
We had a 3-hour cup of tea. We didn't stop talking. Doesn't sound like, anything.
Shocking. I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
yeah. I know you would be, right? So
I just can't picture it.
the power of that is a reminder of social media doesn't have to be this phoom, out to the world and phoom, loads and loads of followers and likes and uh, big. Big does not equal better. More money does not equal more happiness or more achieving because it could be more overheads. It could actually just blow things out and waste your time and money.
Mhm.
It's getting that clarity. I connected with what her message was, and
Yeah.
that values level was I wanted to hear more of what she had to say. So when she gave me the opportunity, another way to be connected, that enabled that relationship to grow. And when we can reframe how we use social media like that too, it takes away that obligation to be posting for the sake of posting. And
Yeah.
at its heart, when you say to me, what do you do every day? A typical day, it is I help people to see the opportunity in every day.
I like that.
And yeah,
You need that on a shirt. See the
okay.
opportunities in every day.
And that's what lights me up. And I see that. And when I hear it's funny, when I see Russell's comment about his view, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I see that shine through with everything he does. And I see that's why it connects the way it does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wish for everyone to see that view. Um, yeah, because I have a love-hate relationship with being online. But what gets me there and keep going back to it is knowing that it's better if I do.
Yeah.
It's better if I can help be that light for people to see the opportunity.
So with having a love-hate relationship with being online,
Hmm.
how are you like, you've got your YouTube channel. What's
Yep.
that channel name?
It's Better Budgets with Serena.Ryan.
Um, and you've got content over there already, but you're planning on, in the future, starting up some live streams over
Yep.
there. What what made you decide to start the idea of doing the live streams? And with your love-hate
Mm.
relationship with digital, how are you gonna make sure you do it?
You do it with purpose.
Yeah.
And one of the most pivotal moments in my life, I have quite a few of them, because I feel
That's what
like
life's about.
it is a joy.
That's
It
it
is.
is. Yeah.
Uh, I oh geez, I don't even know where to start this. I ended up in hospital, having emergency surgery. Anyone that's gone through that in their lives, when you suddenly get derailed because no one wakes up in the morning and goes, "Today I'm going to end up in hospital with a medical emergency." That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It put me, well, in hospital and forced recovery. And this happened, geez, about 6 months after my son had said, "Don't you like spending time with us?"
Ah,
So, I was kind of forced into reassessing my life.
yeah.
In that moment, um, I, through scrolling on social media, discovered an incredible woman. You can see I'm choking up
You
talking about it.
are, but
Um,
it's because it's meaningful.
I was scrolling on Twitter, right? Getting
Yeah.
ready to go to the US because I do go to the US, well, pre-pandemic, twice a year I was in the US.
Yeah.
Um, and I was preparing for a trip. And I saw this tweet. And in this tweet was a 1-minute interview with a woman called Dr. Terai Trent. And she has written a book called The Awakened Woman. And exactly what it is, it's literally The Awakened Woman. It's her journey. She's an incredible woman from Zimbabwe. And she's actually known as Oprah Winfrey's all-time favorite guest.
Oh, wow.
I got her book on Audible and listened to it in my hospital bed. And
Yeah.
in that moment, it it helped me to, one, not feel so alone in this feeling like this trap of working and working and working and just towing the line, so to speak. And then it also made me gain momentum to see I'm in this world to help people see how to use social media and digital marketing to achieve the life they want,
Yeah.
not to use it because it's there and just to be there unaware. But when you use it with purpose, you make this world a better place. And she gave me a reason to get myself to a place where my finances are in order, So
Yeah.
then I'm not just chasing my tail to sustain me and my family. I'm looking after them, and then I'm going out into the world to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And that gives me a reason. Instead of I can sit here and I'll keep telling you, yes, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't like that people are there in an unaware state. It lights me up when I focus my energy for people to be aware when they're in social media and digital marketing to achieve what they want, which then contributes to the greater good.
Yeah.
And it gets me out of my hibernation state of not wanting to share to showing up. And when I show up, I'm there on purpose,
Yeah.
and I'm I am going to be here to fully give and enable, regardless of someone's budget, because you don't need this thing, right? People don't need to spend truckloads of money in this space. That's why people come to YouTube, right?
They
Um,
do. They come to YouTube for the free stuff.
yes, I was going to quote Justin there. From Primal Video, because he actually uses he uses other language there, a bit more
He
direct.
uses a different word than stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like
Yeah.
bottom line is you do have access to it.
Yeah.
And it is for free, and that's okay, but there is a fire hose out there, and I wanna
Mhm.
help people see how they can guide that to grow the garden they want.
Yeah. To tamp it down so they don't just blow their roses out.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly, you
Yeah.
want a nice, healthy, thriving garden,
Yeah.
and I
You don't wanna
yeah,
look at where the fire hose got rid of the garden.
no, and that's the thing, even now, I feel this huge connection to what Tara Trent has got and has done. She is
Yeah.
someone who sees the good in how we can be more connected and help through our story, through our lived experience.
Yeah.
And n- little did I know that moment of listening to her book would transcend to, well, that year, end of that year, being able to meet her in person.
Yeah.
And to then June this year being a co-author with her.
Yeah.
And that came out of a tweet. So if you just take it out of that whole story, you see social media is one of the most powerful connectors to what we want to be able to do and achieve. And every single day, you might think, oh, well, I've only got one person watching my video, or I've
Yeah.
only got 10 followers on this page.
But who is that person?
Thank you. That
Yeah.
is exactly it. And if you see who those people are, you see those connections. And if you can be clearer on your value set and your purpose, and when you put that out into the world, you will attract those people that you want to be with. And you should value every single day you have to have what you want. And yes, we all have obligations. Like I will never take away from that. Like that's why I've got my podcast. My podcast never started as um, a business tool.
Mhm.
It started as a therapy tool for myself.
Yeah.
It started for me to go, hang on a minute. I've been conditioned in my life, in my societal expectations around money and corporate, and feeling like my worth was attached to how much I earned. How do I deconstruct all of that to then rebuild that to have the life I want?
Yeah.
And the podcast is a part of that. So it's very raw. I
Yeah.
didn't sit there, and I think this is something
I love
related when
listening
talk.
to it, I have to say, because it is raw, it's honest. It's just it's just really, like, it's how do I put it? It's not overproduced, it's just you
No,
explaining what something is and how you fixed it and options for how somebody else could fix something similar. That's it. It's
beg
it's
you.
not it's not like this I don't know. I just find it to be one of those things, when you sit there and you listen to someone speak and it just washes over you and just fills all the crevices, and you're just like, okay, I can do this. That's how I feel after listening to that podcast. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things. And I think if those of you that are listening, watching, whatever, don't have time or don't have a business that doesn't need Serena's amazing skills and help, go and listen to the podcast, and there'll be something in it for you. I like that. That has to be, right. We all have wallets.
It's so true. You're right. I think it's one of those things when I started getting into YouTube, because my YouTube channel's about 60 days old at the moment. So it's
Yeah,
brand spanking
it's
new.
so new.
And I sat for a while in a space of what did I want to put out there as content? And I played a little bit and I've stumbled around a bit. And this is the perpetual learner in me. If there's anything you take out of today, regardless of whether you're a business entrepreneur, employee, where you sit in the world, retired, whatever, if you kind of go, well, hang on, it's business and life. I wanted to be able to put out content that would help people to see you could make the most of what you have. Even when you go, I don't have a budget. Well, then there's ways to get it. There's ways to
Yeah,
work with it. That's why Antoinette from All About Style, she blew my mind the day I went shopping with her. And I
yeah,
was like, ooh, maybe I could make a video out of that that would be useful for people to see and view. Well,
because we all need clothes. It's like
yeah,
laws and
yeah.
stuff that says we have to wear them.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, yes,
Yeah,
unless you're kind of in a nudist colony, and then okay, that's your thing. Um, you've got to find clothes.
yeah,
And I'd had this perception of going into op shops or thrift stores if you're in the US of going, oh, I don't know. It like we're talking like this particular dress, brand new, still with labels on when I got it.
yeah,
And so when I created the video for YouTube, I went and Googled all those labels because we got a lot of them with brand new tags still on.
yeah,
And I figured out the price of everything. And I was like going, my dream, right? If I go back a couple of years of my business, was to say to her one day, because she came to me as a client a couple of years ago to help her with it, um, understanding digital and
yeah,
starting up her business. And I was like, oh, one day I want to be able to go shopping. And I wanted this dream budget of $5,000 in my head to go and
yeah.
get clothes. And what perpetuated that $5,000 budget was probably watching one too many Sex in the City episodes. Yeah. And wanting to buy designer labels.
Yeah,
And as my relationship with money changed, I still love the idea of fashion for confidence and feeling good and all these things. But I was looking at ways to do it more, well, how could I make the most of what I had? So
yeah,
she taught me how to shop from my wardrobe because I had a few items there that I'd never realized I could still wear again. And she showed me
mhm,
different ways to wear them. But then the whole going into op shops, she mentioned through one of her, I think a live video she did, that she was going into op shops. And I was like, now I'm curious. I'll try that out. And if I hadn't been open to the whole idea of looking for different things to do without money,
mhm.
um, then I would have missed the opportunity. And if I go off on a tangent, this is probably going to be of a squirrel brain moment. I know you hear.
This is we're squirrel brain people. It's allowed.
Um, when I finally, um, thank you. I feel I got to a point where I was um, feeling like I need to go get a qualification in digital. I'd been in digital for about 10 years at that point. And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, let's go get some qualifications. So I went and did it was through ADMA, the Australian Direct Marketers Association. They
mhm,
did like this course through, anyway, irrelevant which course, but one of my assignments, I studied Richard Branson.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about Richard Branson and his entrepreneurial.
And how he started out and yeah.
Well, he started out with money and he goes off in a lot of different places. So I think he comes from a family that had a decent amount and he's obviously made it into more. But he has this knack, the way his success has kept going is that he's always getting out there and trying new business ideas. You know, he did bridal gowns for a while there.
I did not know he did bridal
Yeah.
gowns. I just can't
And it's
picture that.
but basically name something and chances are he's done something. He's the original, um, guerrilla marketer.
Multipreneur. Yeah.
And multipreneurs, but also he would get out there and do the flash mobs and
Yeah.
get into find out where the TV station's going to be and be the one standing in the background to promote his business without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
And one of his specialties was just because he has money, he was always looking to do things without spending a cent.
Yeah.
And that sticks with me. Like I pick up pieces of information every day because I'm always learning, never stop.
Yeah.
And that sticks with me. Your creativity, and does come back to what I love to help people see. And I'm talking about it through my YouTube channel, through the podcast, and through my day to day work with clients, um, being able to grow in e commerce. It's like, how do we do what we want to do without spending money first?
Yes. That's
Let's
the hard part,
absorb
isn't it?
that
Because
first.
people think that they need to have the angel investors and get in there and spend all this money before they can start, but you don't have to do it that way.
And the thing is, I would say everyone look at that as a life lesson, as a business lesson. Look at it,
Mm.
go, okay, well, in my life, if I did without that and didn't spend on it,
Yeah.
is my life better or worse? Or is
Yeah.
there another way I could get that for free? And go, oh, okay. You start to value things a lot more in that
Yeah.
context by doing that exercise. And then I think this is actually a life lesson as someone who worked her way up in a corporate ladder and had a lovely, good paying job and all that pre creating my business, is just because you've got the money to get it doesn't mean you should. Like for
Okay.
putting those boundaries there to go, oh, actually, because I've got the money, don't automatically spend it. And as a business, because you've got the money, doesn't mean you should.
Okay.
And if you can work harder at that, you end up restoring balance. And this is the thing, right? It doesn't mean you don't spend the money. I want that to be clear because I think there's often this, I want to get everything for free and therefore I'm not going to spend the money. You
And
just
then you spend
have
the
to
time
prioritize.
instead.
And then time you can't ever get back. So
No.
some things I go, actually, you know what? It's actually more valuable I spend time on that so I enjoy it. And it's more valuable I spend money on other things so I get the time to do what I want.
That's actually another Justin quote's just jumped into my head.
Oh,
Anytime you say yes to something, it means you have to say no to something else. And so you have to be careful about what you're deciding to spend your money on because saying yes to spending money on this means no to spending money on that. So spend the
mm,
money on the things that you don't want to have to do the work on because you get to learn and do the work on the other things.
I
Just
was
as a side, for those
yeah.
that don't know, we keep quoting Justin Brown from Primal Video because we're both members of the Primal Video Accelerator group, and, I think we're being indoctrinated. Uh, it certainly feels like that at times.
But
Um,
I'm gonna challenge that because I say it's an alignment of values.
it is not let's go with that. It's not an indoctrination, it's an alignment of values.
Yes, it
They'd
is.
never say that in a cult. No. Oh, I hope Justin doesn't watch this.
Yeah, it
Ah,
the other thing I would say with regards to money is a fun thing I play with, right? And I call it the tomorrow rule. and it means, "Oh, I want that." I say that a lot because I always look and go, "Ooh, shiny bauble, I want that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I want it tomorrow."
Yeah. I
And
see,
then I
I
wait
go,
till
"But
tomorrow.
not today."
Sorry?
"Oh, that's awesome, but
Yeah,
not today."
yeah.
Yeah.
I applied that rule to, well, for example, there's this dress I wanted. Yes,
Yeah.
me and my fashion. It took me 3 days before I finally went and purchased it because I was like, it was the first dress I'd purchased since doing op shopping, and I've
Yeah.
been op shopping now. That's kind of been my wardrobe for the last 2 years, has been op shop. That's it,
Yeah.
done. So this is the first dress that I actually went and paid retail for, and it was like, oh, I couldn't bear myself to actually get it the first time, and I didn't want to waste time going into a store either, by the way. So this is a balance of using my time, but I just let it sit there, and then I came back to it. Yeah. By day 3, I went, "No, actually, that dress is gonna be the right one. I'm gonna get it."
Yeah.
And younger self me probably would have got that in 3 different colors previously. So it's about
Balance.
balance. Yeah.
It's about
Hmm.
balance. Well, Serena, we shockingly, I know, have gone over our time today. I know, I'm astounded
How did that
also.
happen?
No idea. But what I say is I love having these chats with you, honestly, and it just but we go between, like, super serious and then into giggles and laughter, and it's which is what you do in an actual conversation with a person. It's not just a single focal point for an entire hour. I don't know anybody who can do that, actually. Um, but Serena, you've got your new YouTube channel. Sorry, my brain just needed to catch up for a second. You've got your new YouTube channel, where you're going to be talking about building better budgets. Oh, my brain will not give me that. It just won't tell me what it's called. I keep thinking of Serena.Ryan and I don't have it written in front of me. But in the description below is the link to Serena's new YouTube channel, the link to Serena's podcast, and also to her website, Serena.Ryan, Ryan.com.
Mhm.
There's actually a funny story for that. Don't forget the Serena.Ryan. You'll end up with someone else if you do not.
Well,
Um,
I'll give it a different way to explain that just very
oh,
quickly.
excellent. Thank you.
My middle name is Dorothy, hence the dot. My middle
Okay.
name is after my great-grandmother, but
Yep.
I can also very cheesily say, "Digital is my middle name." There you go.
Oh, very
Hmm.
cheesily. There you go. And I
Yeah.
made a banner for you. Look at that.
Oh,
Serena.Ryan.com. And go over there and check out the questions that she has if you want to work with somebody who is all about helping you to win at your dreams and your goals, not just numbers.
the questions, it's actually, I'll give you the direct link for that as well. There's actually a slash there, and it's GCT. So serena.ryan.com, GCT, and GCT stands for Goals Content Targeting.
Okay, so Serena, hang on, I'm putting it in right now. Ryan. I can't type apparently. .com slash G
GCT.
GCT. All right, that's in the chat. So you can just copy that and right click it and you can go and check out those cool questions. Um, I've had such a wonderful chat with you today, Serena, and I hope we do get to do this again. And I cannot wait to see your live streams that come up on your channel and more content over there as you slowly grow and build in this new space for you.
I really appreciate your support, Chantelle, and I love that you've given me the opportunity to live stream for the first time with you. I know you've got so much experience in this space, and it just blows me away on how you do it. And oh, you've been able
Practice
to
and
hold my
learning.
hand today. I appreciate it a lot.
It's all good. It's what I'm here for. It's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
And, if you want to check out any of the previous live streams, you can see a playlist of me talking with various creators and entrepreneurs who are adding live streaming to their businesses, and we have some more coming up, so keep your eyes peeled for the notifications. Thanks so much for your time, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.